What's up? I'm Chris with Superfly. We're here at our headquarters in Sandy, Utah. This is where we warehouse and service advanced Nova and Gin gliders. We also have a paragliding school and we do maneuvers training as well. So today we are going to talk about the top 4 maneuvers pitfalls. We're going to start off with wingover and then spiral and asymmetric and frontal for the more beginner type pilots. So people always ask, hey, am I doing a wingover? And so the quick answer to that is there is no wingover-ometer. There is no way to calibrate or measure the size of your turns back and forth. In the beginner environment, we talk about it as turns back and forth. And as it moves forward, then at a certain point, not measurable, it becomes wingover. For sure, turns back and forth are a fundamental element of flight. So whenever we get our hands on a student, we take them to the lake. We have them start doing the quick turns back and forth, incorporating the eyes and the hips and the hands, giving them the confidence that they could make a quick directional change if they get aimed at somebody or something. Moving right along without a clear definition or line, there's wingovers, and that's just where you're sort of recreationally turning back and forth and where you're aiming for dynamic turns. So main thing that people don't know about wingovers is that at low intensity levels, the wingovers can be very easy, very benign, very tolerant of inaccuracies and holes in their people's technique. As time goes on though, at the intermediate level, then the wingovers can become very insidious. Moving right along to the high intensity wingovers, they actually become slightly safer. I'm not saying go practice the high intensity ones and skip the mid intensity, but what I am saying is it's all about progression. And so what you need to do is link up with somebody that can help you to make smooth turns back and forth, eyes, hips, hands, all moving together in just the right way. Good rhythm, good timing, good symmetry, and feeling the outside brake. Because you never know when you're gonna cross the threshold and get into the mid-intensity wingovers where an outside wingtip deflation is quite likely and possible. Now, it's interesting to know that it's the only real malfunction in a wingover is high side tip deflation. So the magic is, as you're pulling to the left side's not going to deflate. It's just the high side. And interestingly, it's the side that you're not aware of. You're thinking about your lean, your hand, your eyes going this way. This hand is the hand you're not aware of. And the classic pitfalls are to stick this arm out in sort of a mechanical way. Just put it at some height that the pilot imagines will be just right. And what happens is that at a certain intensity level, that hand is not enough. There's not enough tension at the top of the pendulum. Incidentally, the deflation only happens at 2 places during the wingover. At the very top of the pendulum on one side, and then at the very top of the pendulum on the other. Those are the moments when the outside hand position is essential, and the preferred posture is the elbow in, fingertips alive, double pump on the brake as the pilot arrives at the top of the pendulum for assurance that the tip doesn't deflate. We'll bring in a prop and show you exactly what we mean. Okay, so say hi to Harry Potter. Harry Potter flies advance. And so the quick logic and the quick demo is that at low intensity levels, there's very little slack. So pilot goes swinging back and forth, not too big of a downside, usually quite festive, quite fun. At high intensity levels, again, not much slack. You see how it's a loaded sort of affair? And so Harry has a good time here. But in the middle intensity levels, low and now mid, those are the moments when you get slack. And at the top of the pendulum up here is where it deflates. When the tip deflates, then oftentimes you get a turn back this way and it can result in a spiral oftentimes with the tip sort of stuck in. And if the pilot's not quick on the opposite brake and aware, then they can become quite catastrophic and even cause for reserve. So that's the quick logic. I would challenge you to grab a pendulum yourself. This one for sure is nice aesthetically, but it's not the best one to just check out how energy works. Remember, this is not a quirk of a paraglider that it deflates when it's at certain points during the pendulum. This is just a law of physics, and it's good to put a study on it. So best of luck with your wingover logic. Remember, the key is start off super gentle and establish a really high level of mastery with supervision, knowing that you really don't want to cross the line into the middle intensity and insidious, potentially disastrous wingovers that have been the demise of so many people over the years. Some people ask, Chris, you talk about what bad technique looks like, but what does the really good and preferred technique look like, and what are we aiming for? And so it's good to put a little logic to the wingover and know that every pendulum has its own natural swing and radius. So when you get a paraglider that has short lines, it's going to be a different rhythm and a different pendulum than a paraglider that has long lines. And it's good to know that there are a ton of variables at play. The variables are how quickly, smoothly your eyes move and where, the weight and extent to which your hips tilt, the timing with which your hips tilt, and then finally, the way that you pull brake, meaning the amount of brake you pull and the way you pull it. So here's the inside scoop on how to pull brake, lean and weight shift in the wingover environment. For sure, the main thing to avoid is cranking a hard turn at the beginning. That's a bad start. Always start with just a little turn back and forth. We often joke that you need to have your eyes moving back and forth like Stevie Wonder. Now, if you know Stevie Wonder, his jam was kind of like this. And the crux there is that the eyes never get to stop moving. So the second that you're looking over here, you're immediately looking back the other way. You never get to enjoy the wingover or hold on to a turn for any period of time. That's the most important thing, the eyes. Second most important thing is the hips. So as you're looking to the left, you have a little left brake to get the turn happening. You wait until you're arriving at the bottom of the pendulum. Your eyes are already over. At that point, your hips come over. Smoothly, deliberately, as you're arriving at the bottom of the pendulum, that's when the hip input works best. After that, the hand comes on, and here's the crux. The hand comes on gentle. As you swing out to the side and get up a little bit, then the hand pulls a little bit more, and at the very top of the pendulum, both hands are feeling the brakes. We always say that this hand should give a pump on the brake, and the logic there is that by pulling once and then again, you get to feel where the pressure develops, you get to explore into the pressure, go back to where the pressure goes away, and then hit it one more time so that you know for sure that you have positive pressure. And for that matter, everybody watching will be at ease because they know you're linked up with the outside brake. That's wingover insurance, feeling both brakes at the top of the pendulum. From the top, you have a nice rhythm going. It helps to pick a center point and make sure that your wingovers go the same number of degrees turned this way that they go that way of your center point. Good rhythm, good symmetry. Eyes come back early. Save the weight shift for the bottom of the pendulum. Snappy with the hips. Gentle on the brake, then a little more. Feel both. Look back the other way. Hips snap at the bottom of the pendulum. Gentle on the brake, then a little more. Feel both. We'll circle back on this, but one fundamental of good paraglider turning, whether it's wingovers or asymmetric spirals or just 180s on a hill, is that you look first, wait a second, lean, wait a second, pull gentle, wait a second, then develop the turn a little, get out to the side, and then pull whatever you're going to pull. The magic is that when you let off, you get to be very precise about your heading, and when you let off, no wobble. That's how you pure carve turn a paraglider, and in wingovers, it's essential. Now that we've given you all that ammo, I want to remind you that wingovers can be insidious. Insidious means that in this environment, it means that they can be very mellow up until a point. They can be mellow for you for years and years. You can think that you have a good thing going, and then one day you can change the algorithm just a little bit. Different glider, pull a little more brake, different harness, maybe a little more weight, skip a year. The list goes on and on. You change the algorithm just a little bit, you maybe put a little extra energy into it, and you cross the threshold from where the glider really wants to stay inflated at the top of the pendulum, not much risk of deflation, immediately into the environment where the outside tip really does want to deflate. And the conditions can be a variable as well. So don't forget it, if this one were to come and sneak up on you and kick your ass, then you wouldn't be the first, and it wouldn't be a surprise. If you dabble in wingovers, you should have a good coach. You should have some over-the-water training, and you want someone to put their stamp of approval on your wingovers that you're doing them safely. Remember, there's no substitute for progression. If you've been wingovering at a 2 out of 10, the only intensity level that's allowable is a 3 out of 10. A better formula would be practice the 2 out of 10s and then let the 3 out of 10s happen sort of accidentally over the course of time, over a couple years. Remember, the guys who go from a 2 to a 10 are asking for it. The guys who go from a 2 to a 10, even if they pull off the 10 for a period of time, chances are they won't be in the sport a couple years later, and that's the ultimate measure of success. Make sure you're in the sport 10 years down the road, 15 years down the road,